Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, now welcome back to Reframing Mindset podcast. My name is Constance Brooks. I know this episode is recorded on Christmas Day, but it will be released after the day after. It will release Boxing Day. So I guess by then you would have celebrated Christmas. So I hope that you have enjoyed Christmas. Yeah. But all from that, this episode is going to talk about my fifth week. Yes, we did it. We made it past the fifth week. Yeah, if you listen to the 95 experience the fourth week, you don't know that the fifth week may was may not have happened or had the possibility of not happening. So yes, we made it to the end of the fifth week, but I'm still not out of the water yet. It's not out of the water yet. But what I am in now is in the next phase. We're in the official training phase of it. And this week, remember the fourth week, I said, okay, we were down to business and such like that. So the fifth week now we actually did the test. And we did the test and I passed. And then what we end up go into now, so was the official on the job training where basically we're actually doing the actual we're not really doing the full day work, but we are practicing with live situations, we're dealing with live customers and help solving their problems and such like that, but we're not doing it as much as what we were supposed to do. We're just applying the things that we have been learning the first 4 weeks and putting it into action to see how well we are going to do. Yeah, so that's basically what we've been doing the fifth week. The things that we have been learning, we are putting them into practice, and then not only that, we are getting the simulation and the live at the place where we're actually working at. So it's like real work practice. And the sixth week is going to be like the real. So sixth week you're going to go into the next phase now, which is basically the real thing. The real thing. We're actually going to work the 8 hour job day, which we have been working the 8 hour job day and such like that. We're working it we're going to do the real thing, and basically what we're going to do is that we're going to do that to see for like 2 weeks or so, just to see if we have the skills that actually can do this full time. So that's basically the next phase that I'm in now. So I'm not out of the water yet. I'm in the next phase now. We're actually doing the actual practical thing now, and we're getting tested to see if we're actually capable of doing this thing for full time. Actually, can do this whole day. Because it's one thing that actually can do it for like one time or maybe a 1 hour such like that, but to be able to do it 8 hours a day and actually can do a lot, be efficient with it. Yeah, they want that. So if you can't really do that, the best thing they're going to do is just lay it off. So this part now is where I have to really put in the focus and apply, and not only that, this is where the real training, the real so the if you remember the benefit of doing this job, what I mentioned, this is where the practice, I'm getting the real life practice, because the thing about it is I'm doing the real people, so I have to really communicate well. I have to be able to communicate. So it's like real life practice. So, as I said, if I'm able to get this, be here for like 6 months, I'll be more fluent in speaking English. I'll be more fluent, and you know, the podcast will sound very differently, very differently. Yeah. So that's basically it for the fifth week. There's not much really to say. There's not really much to say after that. I'm glad that I made it to the fifth week, and you know, I can't complain. The work is getting harder. Actually getting better. I'm not really sleeping a lot. I'm actually getting more sleep because the shift change. The shift change now to like 8:30 in the morning. So basically, I can wake up actually later, and not only that, I can get more sleep, and not only that, the tasks that were actually taking out a lot of my time now, I'm actually getting better at managing it, and some of them are actually going away. So it's like, over time, I'm going to get better, and until eventually I can get back to having at least maybe 6 hours or 8 hours of sleep, back to doing that. But it takes time. You have to really, as I said, you're learning on the go. You have to be efficient. You have to be agile, adaptable to actually able to maneuver it. Because you don't want to go into the next situation and then you're getting the opportunity that you want, but it's costing you a lot of other areas. And it's yeah. So one thing is that the 95 journey I kind of understood, back when left university. Back when I left university, I know that phase I was basically unemployed, and most of my other people, our friends, and such like that, they were employed and such like that. They were really busy and stuff like that. In the situation now, I can understand why they were busy because a lot of my time is actually being sucked up with this 95 and such like that. So I understand it back then. So I guess, back then I had no resentment back then. I had no resentment back then. But what I realized is that, the stuff in this phase that many, I guess, my people, my age, my time would be going for, the best opportunity or the best situation is really missed by the time that you're actually spending being busy. That's why the 95 thing is a trap, such like that. Because the time is a trap if you don't really think about where you're doing. Because you're spending 8 hours a day and you're dealing with the workplace people. And these people are here to make money. You're going to make friends with each other, but at the end of the day, you're there to make money. Just like when you're in the university, you're there to get your degree. But the thing about it is that you 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 all can get a degree if you actually put in the work and such like that. You all can get a degree and you all can do well in the business. You all can do well and such like that. But at the end of the day, if you make your friend, if you have a work friend and the work friend make you slack off at work, when I getting fired, it's you. You can't really say, "Oh, it's my friend." No, it's you going out, and the company don't care that you are them or friend and stuff like that. So that's the difference between a company and such like that. But not only that, this phase people find their wife and husband and such like that. A lot of missed opportunities is like, most, like, for example, back when I left university, I mentioned that I started before I started this podcast. I listened to another podcast. And this podcast person was talking about relationship and such and divorce and stuff like that. And I'm reaching that phase now. I'm reaching that phase now where basically those stuff that I've been learning back then, I will be either the statistics, the 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 one that made it out, uh, or the one that learned from them or did well. That's the phase that I'm in now. All the stuff that you just learned from this podcast that I will be listening to, I'm going to the phase that where I could be either the victim or the beneficiary. So things like divorce, and divorce is due to all kind of reasons. But as I said, being the 95 journey and see how much time it takes. And divorce statistics, one of the things is that you just don't find the right partner because the time is spent at work, and then, for example, the pressure people put on you that you basically don't have the time to actually make a right proper decision, and then you make a bad decision, and then couple years later, you hate the relationship, and then you divorce, and then it's so ugly, and then one of you end up worse off, and and that's and it's not me blaming 95, but being in the 95 journey, I can see how that really can um influence divorce and such like that. Like all of, so if this phase of the podcast is like, the reality of my dreams coming true. And that's, it's like um this song that I usually listen to where I say, "Oh, I'm learning all the things that I usually read about." No, I'm starting to learn all the things that I like. It's like you say, lately I'm trying to hold my blessings. You know, I, I took my chance. Now I'm eating. Now I'm starting to learn all the things I usually read about. So that's the phase that I'm going now. Going into the 6 week, I've started to learn all the things I'm going to read about, and yes, this podcast is going to become more real, more real. It's not going to be a it may not be a fairy tale anymore, right? Just because it's going to be some live plays. It's going to be some live plays. It'll be like, that, and stuff like that. Even though it's always been live plays, but mm, you're going to see my ups and downs, my progress and failures, and such like that. Because the thing about it is that this workplace is not my strong suit. It's not my strong suit. So yes, I have the possibility of getting fired up, not making it. So it's like you're going to see that reality if I fail. So if you mention the podcast, you just mention heard many times of how I failed. So this phase of the podcast, may I see real time of me failing. Yeah, but the 5th week, I'm glad I made it to the end. I'm kind of getting not excited that I'm not going to work because that those 8 hours is really frustrating. 8:30 to 5:30, it's really long sometimes. It's really long. It's really long. So basically, I'm just going to prepare to go to the 6 week. That's basically it. It's not exciting, and I'm just going to prepare to go to the 6 week and hope that I can manage it. So that's basically for this episode. You know, thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode. Mhm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
I guess the next 2 episodes should, if I do them in that order, should be in a two life lessons that I picked up on the way and on my journey to becoming, getting my degree. Or well, it- when I got it, it will be when I was trying to get my high school diploma. And this episode is gonna talk about the wall, the wall, and this is a good. And is that I learned it, and it was valuable then. It was valuable then because it reinforced it. It wasn't something that I needed because of the family that I was raised in. Because regardless if I got that lesson or not, my family would keep me straight. But that lesson, the way he put it, I know kind of really understanding the city that I went to school